So let's check in with the earnings season. We talked about some of Nigeria's earnings earlier. Now let's talk about big earnings across the UK market. Barclays Bank is getting hit, £1.9 billion relating to insurance claims. Julian, let me just ask Juliana Olayinka, my colleague from our studios in London, how this is making a big splash on the London Stock Exchange this morning.
Bosun, good morning.
It's good to have you.
Nice to have you, Bosun. Yes, so let's jump straight into it. Barclays, they've become the second London headquarter bank to announce that the PPI scandal, that payment protection insurance scandal that took place over 10 years, has really dented their third quarter earnings. It's wiped off about £1.5 billion from their pre-tax profits, which takes their payment protection insurance payouts to a tune of £11 billion. Despite these Q3 losses, their shares were up about 2.4% this morning, really because they had a mixed bag. Of course, they still reported profits of about £246 million, which is good. But their chief executive officer did say that in 2020 and over the next 12 months, it's going to be pretty difficult for a lot of these London quartered banks. Not just because of Brexit, but of course, there is a global economic uncertainty that's really hitting big banks at the moment.
Okay, the Barclays, RBS reported something similar yesterday. This insurance claims is beginning to worm its way around the banking sector and the earnings we're seeing. But let's give a very quick look into the UK elections at the end of sometime in September. What's the outlook on this?
Well, the October the 31st do-or-die, dead-in-a-ditch Brexit is all but over. Boris Johnson, the Prime Minister, did announce last night that he will, for the third time, ask opposition MPs to vote for an election. He's obviously lost it twice, but the difference is he's actually announced a date. He wants it on December the 12th. This hasn't happened in the UK, a winter or an autumn election, for over almost 40 years. The British people don't really like the cold weather. So typically, we have elections in the spring. So it's really interesting. A lot of people are saying it's very unlikely that Labour will go for it. But Labour can't, hide away from an election forever. So it's a, will they, won't they kind of place that we've been in with Brexit. We're still waiting for the EU to confirm that they've got an extended deadline. And on Monday, we'll be waiting to see if lawmakers do vote for a historic December the 12th general election.
So let's get back into corporate news. Talk about Quid. This is one big PIN lender, if not the largest in the UK. What's the problem? Why is this payday lender closing shop?
Well, Quid, they were the UK's biggest payday lender, and any of our UK viewers will know that payday lenders have really faced scrutiny over the past few years. Wonga, which was the biggest of the time, last year, they had to shut their doors. Why? Because they seem to be doing unscrupulous measures to get people in big debt. So with these payday lending companies, you would, ask for a debt at about 12 o'clock in the afternoon, and within an hour or so, you would have that cash in your account. But they were charging really high interest rates, and a lot of people were in severe debt. So the Financial Conduct Authority really clamped down on them, and several of them closed. And Quid were the last big remaining one. But over the past 6 months, they've had about 3,000 complaints from their customers. And after a long back and forth debate with their US-owned company Innova, they've decided that they will pull from the UK almost with immediate effect.
But final one, just before you go, I thought I forgot a bit about it. But let's talk about Amazon. I'm sure this is a US company, but with footprints all around the planet Earth. So people shopping on Amazon and all that looks as the heart of the entire global e-commerce space. So I'm sure you're worried about this company. The earnings came overnight, and watched that late last night about this earnings from Amazon. It looks like there's a pullback there. Any idea what's happening to Amazon?
Well, this is an interesting developing story. But one thing we do know is that Jeff Bezos, the owner, is no longer, because of these results, the richest man in the world. That's gone back to Bill Gates. And I think, $80 million was pulled out of Amazon overnight, purely because their Q3 results are really bad. Their expectations coming up into Christmas are not as good as they used to be. And that's really because there are just so many more competitors. The likes of eBay that had struggled underneath Amazon seem to have some sort of resurgence. And as well, a lot of consumers are less, they're less likely to make that extra splurge as they would have before. Now people are, spending a little bit more time with that older product. They're taking a little bit more toothpaste rather than ordering extra stuff. But, Amazon are still doing very well. They are still a very large company. So we're looking more into this story as the more details do come through, Bosun.
Yes, I agree. But I'm just get worried about these tech-based companies like Amazon and Netflix. Stories around competition coming big for them as well. And it looks like, well, you can't win it all the time when it comes to tech companies and all of that. But it's okay. Let's leave it there for today. Thank you so much for being with us on Business Morning from London studios, Juliana. Thank you. Great. We'll take a break. We'll be right back in 2 minutes, everyone. Then we're checking back with our marketplace and try to chew some of those earnings and see how they're trading on this day.